A family settles into their suburban dream life when a dark energy invades their home.
Something was watching me. You felt it almost breathing on you.
Evil lurks behind every corner.
Scary man, he's in the walls.
I could feel that something was around me.
And no one rests in peace.
It wasn't a nightmare. It's a threat.
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see
Someone's in my room.
and the things we fear, there are doors when they are opened.
Hey guys, I'm Hannah. Just your average California girl. Sunshine, beaches, and the occasional demonic possession. This is Panic TV. Okay, horror fam. If you're into this, and this, then this next movie is totally your vibe.
Nightmares become reality.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up for the night.
No argument from me.
Me neither.
In 2013, Bill Toler, a brick mason, takes on a job at the state penitentiary.
I was starting my own contracting business and doing bricks and remodeling. We had one really big job, which was the jail. The tools had to be away from the inmates, so where we kept our tools at was death row.
Hey, has anybody ever told you guys that we're standing in the execution chamber? Well, the former execution chamber. For nearly 20 years, prisoners were put to death right where we're standing.
He says, the gurney that you're using is actually where people have died on that gurney from lethal injection. It was kind of creepy.
Interesting.
Dang it.
You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. Let's just get out of here. Thanks.
But this is not the only big project in Bill's life. He has just moved his family to the suburbs.
We were moving from Baltimore, from a little row home to Pasadena. Pasadena is a quiet, family-oriented community. Kind of like waterfront type people, always on the water, fishing, crabbing. Definitely a good place to raise kids.
Rudy the tugboat was shiny and new, ready to set sail on the ocean blue.
Waiting for Bill at home is his wife Amanda and their son Colin.
To be part of it all.
When Bill and I arrived at the house, we both knew that it was perfect for us. It was a lot of room.
Chug, chug, chug. Chug, chug, chug. Moving out to sea went the little tug.
Daddy!
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah? Good.
Colin's a big ball of energy. Rough, tough, typical boy.
How was your day?
It was good. Long, tired.
What happened to your finger?
Oh, I'm sore, no big deal. Hey, guys. Hey. You're leaving?
Yeah, Mom's waiting.
Bill also has two sons from a previous relationship, Byron and Corey, who stay with them part of the time.
Well, tell your mom I said hi, and listen, behave yourselves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're just a normal, average family.
I'll see you later, okay?
See ya.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.
Bye. All right, where were we?
Bill's new business is booming, but it's a mixed blessing.
My work was pretty crazy. We were working like 18-hour days. We had a couple different jobs going each day. I would get up around 6:30-ish, be out the door by 7:30. It wasn't unusual to see me come home at 2:30 in the morning. You make the sacrifices for your family so you can have things in life that you normally wouldn't have. It's life sometimes.
Most days, it's up to Amanda to manage the running of the home alone.
Not long after we moved in, maybe one of the first few weeks that we were there, Bill was working as usual. I was in the living room. I heard little tapping noises, and I wasn't too sure what to make of it.
Weird.
The tapping would be the corner, top corner, it could be the left, the right. It was so random, it wasn't one area.
Bill?
I kept hearing my name. It was like a whisper. It was in the hallway, and then it got closer to my ear. I thought, okay, well, Bill's home.
Bill!
I kept listening, and it would stop. I knew what I heard. I was like 100% sure that someone was there. I just knew I wasn't alone.
Amanda decides to keep what she's heard to herself.
Bill, do you hear that?
Hang on.
Bill and I were in bed late at night. We both heard footsteps upstairs.
We knew that there was nobody up there because 𝐸𝐚 was asleep and the boys were with their mom. And we sat there and listened. We could hear it walking from one room to the next and down the hallway.
Someone's in the house.
I'll go check it out.
Fearing for his family's safety, Bill grabs a gun he keeps locked away for protection.
Honey, be careful.
I will.
So I went upstairs and checked everything out, all the doors and windows. There was nothing up there.
few days after moving into a new home, Amanda Toler begins hearing strange noises and sends her husband to search for the intruder.
I'd grabbed my gun and went downstairs and checked everything out. We had a panoramic picture, 18 inches tall, 4 foot wide. That picture comes off the wall, hits the desk, flips to the left, and lands about 6 feet away. And I had hung it really good. I smacked the wall and everything to make sure that picture wasn't gonna fall because it's canvas. It should have stopped right when it fell and hit the desk. There was nothing to give it a different motion.
What was that noise?
The picture fell.
What was going on upstairs?
Nothing. Colin was sound asleep and all the doors and windows were locked.
Are you sure? I heard it. We heard it.
I don't know what it was. Sometimes houses creak and make noise.
In my head, I'm thinking, it's nothing. It's gotta be something settling or something.
But Amanda still feels the events are unexplainable.
The footsteps, the whispering, the tapping happened all the time. Every day I knew that something was watching me. If I walked down the hallway, it was right on my back. If I went to the kitchen, it was next to me or right behind me. You felt it almost breathing on you. And I would always turn around, and nothing was there.
How was your day? Just okay? You feeling a little tired? Here, sit with Mommy. I'm a little tired too.
Over the next few weeks, Amanda and her son Colin begin to feel their energy being drained.
Let's just take a little nap, okay?
We get home around 5 o'clock, and as soon as we got in the door, I would go to the couch with Colin, and we would immediately just go to sleep. And we would wake up around 11 o'clock at night, eat, shower, and go right back to bed.
If I had to come home in the afternoon and grab a tool in between switching jobs or something, they're sleeping. If I came home early, 10 o'clock, they're back asleep, or they're just waking up off the couch at 10 o'clock. It was pretty strange.
He was really concerned. So I went to the doctor, had physical done, I had blood work done. Everything came back normal.
The mysterious fatigue strikes at all hours. Her sleep is anything but peaceful.
I would have nightmares, and it would be violent, like horrific, terrifying dreams. Really, really terrible dreams.
For weeks, Amanda Toler has been sensing an unnerving presence in her house. Now she comes face to face with the entity that's been tormenting her.
I kind of just stopped and looked again. Am I really seeing this?
The event leaves her shaken. But Amanda isn't ready to confront her husband with her suspicions that their dream house is haunted.
I didn't want to say it, because I knew that if I said it out loud to Bill, that it would actually be true, and that I couldn't block it out anymore. I didn't want to believe that this was really happening. Usually I would never want to leave the bedroom because I didn't want to have to go up and down the stairs and have to feel that presence behind me.
Day after day, night after night, Amanda continues to live in fear.
And I could feel like an uncomfortable feeling on my back, kind of like a burning sensation.
Bill? You okay?
I kind of like turned to look at my back, and I had 2 lines. The scratch was probably about 4 inches, 5 inches. They looked like claw marks.
What is it? What happened?
Look at this.
Bill, oh my God. What happened?
I don't know.
The morning that Bill got scratched, that's when it all became real. We were living in it. This is what we were dealing with.
Something's going on in this house.
It was me who said, Bill, I feel like I'm being watched. And then it kind of led into everything. I couldn't deny it anymore.
That's when she kind of opened up and told me everything that was going on with her. We're dealing with something that can definitely hurt us.
I told Bill that I wanted to move because I was so afraid. I really just wanted to get out of there.
What are we gonna do?
Bill tries to convince Amanda that they can overcome this.
We're gonna get through this. The children are fine. They're not experiencing anything.
Me and Amanda had talked about it. We agreed to have somebody come in and investigate the house and try to see if they could find anything wrong with the house.
As they wait for help to arrive, Bill's 2 sons are home for the weekend.
Would you stop messing with that glove?
First thing, I gotta break it in. Second thing, that's your job.
Me and my brother went to go get like trash bags and stuff.
Use a little help here.
Your job.
Byron? I think you need to see this.
What?
Corey was like, "Do you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I see it." It looked like it was just looking at us.
After several paranormal experiences in their home, the Toler family invites John Drenner Jr., founder of Glen Burnie Ghost Hunters, to investigate.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Sure, I'm here to help. The second I walked through that doorway, it felt like I had walked through a brick wall. The pressure was intense. The feeling that you got was overwhelming.
When John came over, I was pretty nervous to find out what he was going to find.
So tell me what's been going on.
Well, it started with footsteps and then tapping. Tap, 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 always like that.
The tapping were coming in threes, which led me to believe it was demonic. And 3 is the number of the Holy Trinity that they are making a mockery of. Amanda and Colin were often very tired, mainly because this entity was feeding off of them. The way that demons work is that they will use you like a battery. They will drain you, make you tired, to break you down physically, mentally, and spiritually to where they can invade. Scratches are a main indication of a demonic presence because human spirits don't have that type of power.
What you're experiencing is likely not a human spirit. It sounds like a demon.
A demon?
John said that demons work by trying to wear you down, and their ultimate goal was to possess you or take your body over.
What can we do?
I want to do a walkthrough of the house.
No. 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 No.
Who's this?
This is our son, Colin. Colin, this is John.
Hello. No, I don't want to. No.
Colin was interacting with this unseen force. And I asked him, I said, "Who are you talking to and who are you playing with?" He was afraid.
Hey, Colin. Who are you talking to?
The man.
Man. What's his name?
Rhodocon.
Colin voices the name of the demon, Rhodocon.
There is no way that he would have known that demon's name unless that demon had told him himself.
Okay, buddy. I'll see you later. Amanda, Colin has just said the name of a demon. Now, this is very important. No one in this family must ever repeat that name. Naming it gives it more power.
God.
Is everything okay?
Colin is at risk. We need to cleanse the house now.
To know that my son was communicating with a demon was just terrifying, just heartbreaking to know that I don't have control over this, and this demon could make him do anything. It was just really scary.
The reason it gave Colin his name is because it wanted to take advantage of an innocent child. It wanted to be invited in. What I feared that would happen to Colin next if that demon remained in the house is that he would undergo a possession.
John prepares sage to cleanse the entire house in the hopes that he can chase the demon away.
By the might of God, in the name of all that is holy, come down, warrior angels, and cast out these demons. Drive them away from this home, this family, and seal off this home from all that is unholy.
He started reading prayers.
By the might of God, in the name of all that is holy, come down, warrior angels, and cast out these demons.
It was so heavy in the house that it was hard to breathe.
By the might of God, in the name of all that is holy, come down, warrior angels, and cast out these demons. Drive them away from this home, this family, and seal off this home from all that is unholy.
Once the blessing was over, the house felt a lot lighter, and it seemed like it was gone.
John said, "How do you feel in here?" I said, "It feels good in here. I can breathe."
That's it. The last room is cleansed.
I feel a difference already.
We had hopes that we could get this thing cleared up to where we could stay there.
Bill and Amanda are relieved to have the cleansing behind them. But now Colin appears to be frightened once again.
We were getting ready for work, and Colin was on the bed, and he would not look at Bill.
You okay, Colin? Colin, look at me.
No.
What's the matter, buddy?
Scary man. He's in the walls.
Colin referred to them as monsters, and there was one that he said it's in the wall.
I could feel that something was around me.
Is he behind me?
Bill and Amanda Toler thought they'd cleansed their house of an evil demon. But when their son Colin sees it inside the wall, it's become apparent they were very wrong.
Is he behind me?
No!
I felt like, oh my God.
He was terrified. I felt more of an urgency to try to protect him, but I didn't know how because this is something that I can't see.
Feeling that there is safety in numbers, Bill and Amanda move the three boys into their bedroom.
Okay, last one.
We decided that we weren't going to let the kids sleep upstairs anymore because it was just too dangerous.
Earlier that evening, Bill talked with sons Byron and Corey.
Thanks, Dad.
I asked them if they felt anything weird in the house or heard noises that they couldn't explain. They said, yeah, that they would hear like stuff go up and down the hallway. They said they felt like something was always outside the door.
How long are we going to have to live like this?
Only a couple days, buddy. We're getting help. It's okay. It's okay.
You could still hear footsteps upstairs. And we're talking 5 people in one room, knowing that there's nobody upstairs.
It's okay, buddy, all right?
Once again, the family calls in paranormal investigator John Drenner Jr. This time he brings along additional support, an expert on demons.
I called him in because I thought he would have a better grasp on what we were dealing with and how we could better attack it.
Once I went inside, I had some strange feelings about the place. Something kept drawing me to the basement.
Downstairs, investigators detect paranormal energy.
Mike, over here.
You feel it?
A portal. Portal's a passage that entities travel from one world to the next. And they do this so they can have a quick exit and a quick entrance.
Suddenly, Mike detects a new energy.
Bill? Is this yours?
Yeah, I keep all my tools down here.
There's a very dark energy surrounding this bag. Where have you been working with this bag?
He told me that he's a contractor and he was doing some work in a prison, particularly death row. And that's where these tools have been. They've been sitting in death row for weeks on end.
The bag was kept in the room where they used to execute the prisoners.
And he was bringing these tools into the house. And that's when I said, now I have the connection. There seemed to be something attaching itself to the tools.
He said that that was pretty much probably where this thing it came from. He felt like I brought it back.
Can you take the tools out of the bag?
Mike further explains that once inside the house, the demon opened a portal. To protect the family from further harm, the tools must be blessed and the portal sealed.
The tools are electrical tools. Anything magnetic can draw any type of entity because they live in a magnetic world.
Dear Lord, in Jesus' name, please bless these tools that they may not again be used as a conduit for entities to come between one threshold and another. Thank you, Lord. Amen. By God's mighty power, I cast out all demons and call on God's warrior angels to come carry all evil entities back to their source. In God's holy name, I bind and seal this doorway to hell. In Jesus' name, amen.
Once we did the blessing, I sensed that the portal was closed.
We need to move on to the rest of the house.
For days, everything is calm. The house is quiet. The Tolers believe they finally have their house and their lives back.
If she walks into that basement, I swear She did. She always does, doesn't she?
The last blessing that we had, I truly felt that this is gonna help, that we're gonna be able to live here and be able to live our lives normal.
Good job.
You immediately seen the difference in Colin and Amanda. Amanda wasn't sleeping as much as she was, and Colin was back to acting full of energy.
Amanda Toler is hopeful that paranormal investigators have cleansed her home of an evil entity. But just when she thinks it's safe,
Colin, what's wrong, honey? Did you have a nightmare?
The scary man pushed me.
What scary man?
The car hit me.
Colin had woke up crying, and he said that he had a really bad dream. A man had pushed him into the road, and he was hit by a car.
Bill. Oh my God, Colin just had a nightmare that someone killed him. His description was too gory and detailed for a child his age. Bill, I'm scared.
What? Listen, get out of the house now. I'm at a psychic's office.
I'll explain later. Just get Colin to the sitter and...
Get over here now. Text you the address.
Oh, okay, all right. Come on, buddy. Bill, what's going on?
I was driving by here and I just got this gut feeling that I needed to come inside.
I remember riding down the road and looking up and just seeing a sign, and I had a feeling like I need to go in here.
Tell my wife what you told me.
Don't take your children back to the house. It's too dangerous.
What?
Your son had a nightmare about his death, right?
Yes. How did you know?
It was a man pushing him in front of a car. It wasn't a nightmare. It's a threat from an evil entity in your house.
Did you tell her about his dream?
No. She told me and then you called.
The psychic had told us about this dream that she already knew about even before we told her.
Yeah, that was definitely confirmation that whatever was there was real, and whatever he had dreamt about was a warning.
I know you love and care for your son deeply. Don't take him back to the house. He's in mortal danger.
I felt that the children were in danger, and I mean, our whole family was in danger, and it was not safe to be there anymore.
they both agree. Their dream is now a nightmare. Amanda takes the children to stay with a relative, while Bill must return to collect his tools for work.
What was that? Did you hear? Let's just get this loaded and get out of here, please.
We were getting the scaffold and stuff out of the backyard, and we were hearing, like, tapping on the glass.
Bill?
At that point, I said, let's keep going. Let's just hurry up and get this stuff and get out of here.
Whatever's in there can stay in there.
You gotta tell me twice.
All right, that's yours. You good with that?
The Tolers never spend another night in the home and begin to rebuild their dreams in a nearby town.
When Bill and I drove away from the house for the very last time, it was a moment of relief to know that it was over, it was done, and we weren't gonna look back ever again.
We bought a house. Everything's pretty normal. No weird feelings, no anxiety. Everything felt like it should.
It changed my life. Before I was atheist, and then this whole thing changed my view. I believe in God now from that whole experience.
All right, let's stack these boxes up and we'll go for another one, okay?
Definitely opened my eyes that there's things out there that just, it's not as cut and dry as a lot of movies and stuff make it seem. It's a lot more real when you're there.
Okay.
It's kind of like being in a glass box. Like, you can see everything around you, but you can't get out of it. You feel like you're stuck.
The Tolers have moved on, but demons never die.
That's good.
When Zoe is forced to make a fresh start, she faces her worst nightmare. A run-down home.
That's not good. The place was filthy. There were some real problems.
A terrifying secret.
Roz, I know where the portal is.
And unwanted guests.
All of a sudden, I was hanging over the stairwell. And I just thought, well, I'm gonna die. This is it.
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see
Someone's in my room.
and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality.
This has been the most harrowing experience of my life. I never thought moving into a different place would change my life so drastically.
There's a haunting interview came an AB marker.
It's still very vivid. Anytime I think about it, I can see the spirits. I was living in terror. It was just pure terror for days. I can never go back to being the person I was.
In the winter of 2016, Zoe Dei, a divorced mother of two, reluctantly moves into a new home. She's by herself. Her daughter attends college while her son stays with his father.
Home sweet home.
In 2016, my daughter was just starting college, and my son was still a junior in high school.
It is what it is.
My ex-husband and I shared custody of the kids, so they were back and forth. The kids and I had lived in Calabasas for almost 10 years, but my landlord needed to sell, so we had to look for another place. Unfortunately, at the same time, there were low inventory of rentals available. The 𝐸𝙤𝙢 townhome was definitely a step down from the Calabasas townhome. The house was just not as ideal.
Thankfully, Zoe's parents have come to her rescue.
Well, I've got gloves, I've got bleach, I've got sponges, I've got it all.
My parents came down and they not only helped me move everything from here to there.
If you guys need me, I'll be upstairs cleaning.
Okay. We had to clean everything. There was a lot of work involved, getting it ready to move in, livable.
Ew. Look at this. It is full of all this.
Being at my daughter's house, I didn't love being there. It didn't feel great, but we didn't want to put any negativity out about it. We wanted everything to be as happy and as homey and as positive as possible, and so that's how we tried to be.
Hun! That's not good.
Oh my God.
There were some real problems that had to be addressed by the landlord, but it was like, what could you do? We were pretty much stuck and didn't have alternatives, so it was a case of, we will make it work.
The rest of the house is just as run down.
At the top of the stairs, there was a closet door. It didn't open easily. You had to really pull on it to get it to open and really shut it to get it to close. I just knew I had to tough it out and make the best of it.
Great. One more thing to fix.
Hon, can you pass me the hammer, please?
Yep.
Beyond all odds, Zoe and her parents transformed the shabby townhouse into a livable space.
We knew it would probably be helping her over a period of a couple of days. The three of us pretty much did all the work and made it happen.
This place looks great. Thank you so much for your help.
Oh, you're welcome, honey.
The place, we cleaned it up really nice and made it, made it really cute and homey.
Hey, look what I found. Oh, isn't that great?
I really hope the kids will like it here.
We had a lifestyle that we were all very comfortable, and that was difficult to change.
They'll have to.
The kids, they weren't happy about having to move. They liked it where they were. They had friends where they were. They weren't looking forward to this.
I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted.
Let's get some food and rest up at the hotel. Tomorrow we'll get the rest of the stuff upstairs, fix anything else we can fix. Then we're heading back home.
Sounds like a plan.
But little do they know, Zoe's presence has triggered an awakening. In February of 2016, Zoe Dei moves into a townhouse in Thousand Oaks, California, with the help of her parents.
Okay.
All right.
Got it?
Corner, yep.
Coming.
Okay. All right. Whoop. Okay.
The place was in kind of a rundown condition.
This house had so many issues. It was just one thing after another. And I just chalked it up to poor maintenance.
Almost there.
I didn't want to move. It wasn't my choice. It's just what had to happen. And so we made the best of it.
After 3 days of helping out their daughter, Laura and Robert head home.
Thank you.
I'll text you when we get to Big Bear, okay?
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
Even though it wasn't wonderful to be there, it was still, you know, Zoe had made it home.
But unbeknownst to Zoe and her parents, Zoe is not alone.
There were times when I'd walk up the stairs and the closet door would just be open, and I would look around thinking it couldn't have opened by itself because it was so stuck. I had that feeling, very unsettling feeling about being there. I didn't know why. I just felt really bad energy, and I wanted to get out.
Zoe decides to get some fresh air.
I started feeling really uneasy and like something was following me. And I kept looking over my shoulder, but there was nobody there. It was just me, but I just get a sense that there was something there. I just couldn't get home fast enough. I was afraid I was going to get jumped or something. I felt very vulnerable.
Ever since Zoe Dei moved into a new neighborhood in Thousand Oaks, California, she's felt uneasy.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
I was being watched and followed, and I just wanted to get back to the house and close the door. I just panicked, and I felt, I'm not safe here. I'm not safe here.
Hello? Mom, I'm not living here. It's not safe.
What are you talking about?
I can't live here. You've got to move me back to Calabasas. Hello?
We get the phone call from Zoe and she was very upset, saying, I can't stay here. This isn't safe. We have to move back. You could have threw a bucket of ice water in my face at that point. It was just like, what? What? And she was hysterical.
Zoe, that is your home now. There is no going back. You just need to accept it.
At that point, I was thinking that she was very much missing her old life. You know, it was just heartbreaking. And I said, honey, we're not moving you back. So that's all there is to it. You sleep on it and we'll talk about it in the morning. She didn't believe that there was anything wrong. She just thought that I was stressed out or that I was overreacting. But I knew that it wasn't that.
Everything's gonna be okay. Good night, honey.
To be at work. And so I steeled myself inside, kind of went through the motions. I just heard this heavy, angry stomping. It was so loud. It was like a 500-pound man was just stomping. The closet door was open again.
And this is just the beginning. One night, Zoe falls asleep in the living room.
It was a very slight girl with blonde hair, and just looking at me. She was very, very pale. All of a sudden, I was hanging over the stairwell. And I just thought that I'm gonna die. This is it.
Zoe Dei is being levitated by a ghost inside her home.
I'm wondering, what do you want from me? Like, why are you doing this to me? I'm hanging there above the stairs. I could see the bottom, and I'm looking down going, if she drops me, my neck is gonna crack. I broke down. I was terrified, and I felt powerless. I felt completely at the mercy of things I didn't understand. It's still very vivid.
Scared for her life, Zoe drives straight to her parents' home in Big Bear, California.
Blanket.
Zoe proceeded to tell me what had happened. She went through the whole experience, and she thought she was going to die. She was just hysterical. It took her a long time to calm down. I was just horrified, really. I mean, like, what is going on? It was a scary time.
Who's that? I called Roz.
Roz Reynolds is a family friend who happens to be a professional psychic.
There was no doubt in believing her. I know there are haunted houses. I've known people who have been in them, and my best advice, like right off the top of my head, is call for help.
My name is Rosalind Reynolds, and I am clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. I am very strong with balancing, healing, and clearing energy in spaces with people.
What is all this?
These are my tools that I use when I'm working.
It's okay. You can trust her.
Roz, she's been a friend of my mom's for a long time. She was the person we knew that deals with this day in and day out.
Roz begins her session with an attempt to contact the spirit Zoe encountered in her home.
I was able to see the spirit, to connect with the spirit, and I realized immediately that she was an incredibly strong spirit. It's very rare for a spirit to be able to levitate.
She could have killed you if she really wanted to.
What do you mean?
The spirit you encountered, she's powerful. But she's just a mean-spirited prankster, and that's all.
Before I even told her everything, Roz was able to describe what the girl looked like.
If the spirit had any true intention to do her harm, she would have. There was no true intent to harm. There was just the desire to be a troublemaker, create energy that she could, live on.
Why is she here? What does she want from me?
You brought her to you.
What?
You emit a light from within you. It's like a magnet that attracts lost souls.
Zoe is extremely psychic, but never felt it.
She said, you shine a light that they're attracted to, and they're coming for you.
But why now? After all this time, why?
I call it an awakening.
Zoe was at a very powerful turning point in her life. And when we reach a point where we are no longer willing to just accept the way things are going, that sort of sets it up. I describe that as boom, the wake-up call. It hits you.
What does this mean?
It means you're going to be seeing a lot more spirits.
Next, Roz attempts to figure out where the ghost came from.
I'm using the skills of remote viewing, using maps, where I am looking at just the general structure of the area. I'm putting my hand over the map, feeling energy.
Suddenly, she has a vision of a long-forgotten graveyard not far from Zoe's home.
These were not the well-marked graveyards of families, and etc. These were graveyards of people who meant nothing to anyone. No one cared, and they just eventually became swallowed up by civilization.
Roz warns Zoe and her mother the negative energy from the nearby graveyard has opened a portal inside her home.
When you say open portal, do you mean spirits are just coming in and out?
Yes, they come and go as they please.
The creation of portal energy is kind of like a perfect storm situation. It's a combination of the energy, the frequencies of the land, the place, the people involved.
Although Zoe is reluctant to return to the townhouse, Roz gives her tools to protect herself and assures Zoe that she has the power to fight back.
I told her point blank, you have to take your power with this because, yeah, you're going to be victimized if you don't. They don't have any power unless you give it to them.
I was still terrified, but knowing that she had me protected was somewhat of a relief. She told me to lay crystals and pennies around the corners of the room. It created some kind of a field, electromagnetic field, that they didn't like to cross. At that time, I'd really hoped this was the end of seeing anything. I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to feel safe in my own space. I wanted to not feel threatened in my home.
One night, Zoe touches base with her daughter who's attending a local college.
Oh, I was just calling to check in on you, wondering how you've been. I feel like I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
I've been super busy with classes. Just had a bunch of exams all in a row. Maybe next week I can stop by your place for dinner.
I tried to protect my children from this. I didn't want them to be feeling what I was feeling. I didn't want to worry them. I didn't want to put that burden on them. I would have to just deal with that best I could and leave them out of it.
Mom?
You know what? I think it's best that we go out to eat. You're probably sick of cafeteria food anyway. Look, why don't I text you next week about dinner, okay?
Okay, Mom. Love you.
Love you too.
There was a guy, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, I kind of, jerked my head back and gasped. And then when I did that, he realized I could see him.
What do you want?
Zoe Zoe Dei's California townhouse has become a hotbed of paranormal activity. Despite the protective measures she's put in place, spirits continue to emerge from a portal in her home.
What do you want?
They were angrily stomping. I could hear them on the walls behind. I mean, just making a ton of noise. It was all terrifying.
Desperate to move out, Zoe contacts her landlord.
At that point, I hadn't slept for about 3 days. I felt unsafe. I felt like there's nothing I can do to protect myself.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. Thank you for coming. Come on in.
Sure. What seems to be the issue?
Actually, I was hoping you'd let me out of the lease.
Let you out of the lease? Why? You just moved in.
It's personal.
I wish I could help, but you signed a year contract.
Please, I can't live here. It's not safe for me.
I'm sorry you're having troubles, but my hands are tied.
No.
When the landlord wouldn't let me out of the lease, it was upsetting. I couldn't take it anymore. And it just became clear that I couldn't be alone. I just wanted to leave. She was, at this point, so traumatized. So traumatized, there wasn't gonna be anywhere she could stay by herself.
Zoe tries to understand why she wasn't able to ward off the spirits. According to Ra, Zoe has the power within her to fight back.
Listen to me, you don't need to be afraid. What you need to do is you need to learn how to stand in your own power. You have the control, you can do this.
The spirits like to be in charge. They're very much about intimidation and harassment to try and get control of the mind and heart and spirit. Their energy is very dependent on the energy of the person experiencing the paranormal events. They want to feed on that. I had to help her get to the realization that she has the power to control this. You have to stand up and you have to take charge of this. And you have to realize that this is your life.
Standing in your power is setting the boundaries for what you will and won't allow. But when you're scared, that lets them come in.
Hello?
Zoe Dei is being terrorized by spirits invading her home.
I opened the closet, and it was just a black hole. And there were spirits down there. And they were trying to pull me down.
Zoe wonders if this nightmare is a message. She immediately reaches out to psychic medium Roz Reynolds.
Roz? I know where the portal is. Will you help me close it?
And I explained my dream to Roz. She was very excited. She goes, "That's the portal. That's the portal." That's how they're getting in your house. So that way you can now block that portal. We have to sear that portal closed.
I feel like where Zoe was at the time, it was an important shift in her perspective of her power and taking control of that. She was ready to get that thing shut, to stop that energy flow there.
Zoe asks her parents and Roz to join forces to close the portal.
I needed my family next to me.
Let's begin. First, I am going to encircle all of you in a white light. It is crucial during this time that each of you focus your energy on closing the portal.
I place myself in the center of that energy field in Zoe's home. I then draw a line of white light, and I ask my angels and guides to come in and reinforce the energy that I have established there. I extend it up into the universe and down to the core of the earth.
Yes, that's good. Keep your minds clear. Continue to imagine the white light. Stand next to it and it will protect you. And remember, they don't have any power unless you give it to them.
She coached us through the whole process, and it involved, channeling energy and white light.
We had done all the salt and done the crystals and done the copper, and Roz felt we were pretty secure.
Roz then senses paranormal activity coming from upstairs.
There was definitely a resistance to closing that energy field that was allowing, these activities to go on.
I meditated and concentrated on it and put forth my prayerful and creative intentions to get the portal closed. And as I was doing this, I felt that it was working, that it was going to stop.
I realized how much power that had to come from a place of strength and not fear, and be able to say, I don't consent, you're not allowed here.
Leave! Now! Return to where you came from!
I can see the spirits receding as that opening closes and begins to narrow down.
Now!
And the door shuts. It did feel very different the minute that that process was completed. And that's how I know it has been a successful closing. Any and all vestige of their energy or any of their negative intent has been neutralized and removed.
It's done. The portal is closed.
Although the house is cleansed of spirits, the experience has proven exhausting. Zoe moves in temporarily with her parents. As for her psychic gift, she is learning to live with it.
I want Zoe to do whatever she feels like is right for her to do with her abilities. If she did nothing more, I would be fine with that. And, you know, as long as she's happy, I just want her to be happy.
I think she's continuing to evolve since this all started. She's a totally different person now, where she was very weak and vulnerable before. She knows what she needs to do, and she's, you know, taking control of her own life again. So that's a big change.
I definitely feel more empowered. Now I've gained a peace with it and a comfort. So it's still a journey, it's still a process. But I'm open to see where this goes. As Raz said, this can either be a curse or a gift. It really depends on you.
All right, horror fam. Who's the real villain here? I have some theories, but I want to hear yours. Drop them in the comments.